Hello, everyone. I'm Anthea Mulakala, and I'm the co-lead of the Asia Foundation's Future Skills Alliance. Today, I want to talk to you about an urgent need, future-proofing skills in the Asia-Pacific region. At the Asia Foundation, we are committed to delivering future skills at scale to underserved communities. We foster collaboration between governments, private companies, and nonprofit organizations, harnessing collective resources to amplify our impact and reach those disproportionately impacted by the digital revolution. One persistent issue we face is the global gender gap in STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. In the Asia-Pacific region, this lack of gender equity is most apparent in engineering and information technology education, where only 21% and 29% of tertiary graduates are women. To address this, we have created the STEM Connector program. This initiative supports and empowers young women, fostering diversity and inclusion in STEM through mentoring, learning responses, and a peer-to-peer regional community of women in STEM. Here's how we're making a difference. First, we're investing in the future. STEM Connector prepares young women for careers in critical fields, driving innovation and economic growth. Second, we're bridging the gender gap. We're tackling the underrepresentation of women in STEM, creating a more equitable and diverse workforce. Third, we're nurturing talent. We recognize the immense potential of young women in STEM and provide them with the resources and support to succeed. And we're building a pipeline. STEM Connector inspires and motivates young girls to pursue STEM education and careers, ensuring future generations of women leaders. Join us in our mission to empower women in STEM. Together, we can build a more equitable future. Thank you. Hello, everyone. I'm Anthea Mulakala, and I'm the co-lead of the Asia Foundation's Future Skills Alliance. Today, I want to talk to you about an urgent need, future-proofing skills in the Asia-Pacific region. At the Asia Foundation, we are committed to delivering future skills at scale to underserved communities. We foster collaboration between governments, private companies, and nonprofit organizations, harnessing collective resources to amplify our impact and reach those disproportionately impacted by the digital revolution. One persistent issue we face is the global gender gap in STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. In the Asia-Pacific region, this lack of gender equity is most apparent in engineering and information technology education, where only 21% and 29% of tertiary graduates are women. To address this, we have created the STEM Connector program. This initiative supports and empowers young women, fostering diversity and inclusion in STEM through mentoring, learning responses, and a peer-to-peer regional community of women in STEM. Here's how we're making a difference. First, we're investing in the future. STEM Connector prepares young women for careers in critical fields, driving innovation and economic growth. Second, we're bridging the gender gap. We're tackling the underrepresentation of women in STEM, creating a more equitable and diverse workforce. Third, we're nurturing talent. We recognize the immense potential of young women in STEM and provide them with the resources and support to succeed. And we're building a pipeline. STEM Connector inspires and motivates young girls to pursue STEM education and careers, ensuring future generations of women leaders. Join us in our mission to empower women in STEM. Together, we can build a more equitable future. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. We're just going to start. Give us a minute. Okay, can you guys see my screen? Okay, wonderful. So welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us today for another inspiring session of the STEM Connector speaker series. Today, we're thrilled to have Valerie Leong, a leading expert in cloud computing from AWS, who's here to share her insights with the STEM Connector community. If you're someone who's ever wondered how your favorite apps or websites run 24/7, then this is going to be an extremely interesting session for you as the answer lies in the power of cloud computing, which is a revolutionary technology transforming the way we store, access, and process data. Now, I'll share the agenda for today with you. Take this. My screen seems to be frozen. Yeah. So I'll just start off telling you a little bit about the program, and then we'll have Valerie speak to you. We'll also save some time towards the end for some live Q&A. So please go ahead and ask your questions. You can also feel free to type them in the chat as we go along, and we'll make sure we save some time to address the questions that you have. Now, let me tell you a little bit about the program and who we are. The STEM Connector program has been designed and is being implemented by the Asia Foundation. We're a nonprofit international development organization that's headquartered in San Francisco. And we work in about 20 countries in Asia. We've been in this region for 70 years, and we work across the gamut of socioeconomic issues. Now, we, in partnership with our supporting partners that are listed here, that include AWS, Microsoft, VMware, etc., have designed this program and are implementing it across the Asia Pacific. Now, the question is, why have we designed this program? Why do we need something like this? And the simple answer is the glaring gender gap that exists in STEM. If you compare, here's an image, as you can see that if you look at the number of women that start non-STEM careers versus STEM careers, there's a huge parity. Only less than 30% of women are part of the starting workforce in STEM. If you look at the number of women in entry positions, it's less than 30%. And the problem is further exacerbated as you go up the career ladder. What you see is that in senior leadership positions in STEM, you have around 12% women represented. And that's really not acceptable, because when you think about it, when the kind of problems that we are facing in this world, STEM is going to be a big part of finding solutions. And we need to make sure that we have the creativity and the talent that women have to be part of that solution. And I'll share some more images just to highlight the glaring gender gap. As you can see that 84% of people in STEM are either white or Asian men. Here are some other interesting statistics. If you look at it, 75% of even non-STEM jobs will require some sort of STEM skills. So it's really important that we ensure that women are getting the right skills and are able to enter jobs in STEM, because we need their representation. Now, before we go on, I just want to do a quick thought experiment with you. I want you to imagine that it's the year 2100. And if I ask you that, do you think by now we've closed the gender gap? Is there about 50% women in STEM? And you'd be surprised to find that reports done by the World Economic Forum, the UN, all show that no, by 2100, if we don't do anything and if we let things be, the gender gap will still not be closed. So estimates say that it's going to take about 130 years for the gender gap to close, unless some interventions are done. So we would have to wait till the year 2154 to see gender parity in STEM, which I believe is not acceptable, should not be acceptable. So we're going to talk about what we can do to ensure that we achieve gender parity sooner, if not in our lifetimes, at least in our daughters' lifetimes. So that's why we've designed this program called STEM Connector. This is the second phase of us implementing this. The reason why we have designed it is to give women the right networks and access to resources and skills so they can, jumpstart their careers in STEM. And we do this through various ways. And we've tried to design this program to be flexible and accessible. So we offer these monthly speaker series, the one that you're attending. This is one of the pillars of this program. Every month, we organize something around topics that are relevant to women in STEM. They can be both professional or technical topics, and we get leading industry experts to come and speak directly with you, and you also get a chance to engage with them through Q&A. One of the very important and interesting aspects of this program is that we've developed a platform with our partner Tex that allows women from across the region to set up profiles and then directly connect with mentors who come from our corporate partners, the list that you saw earlier. These are mentors from leading companies. These are leading employers in the STEM field. And you can connect directly with them either through chat or set up a video call. Again, on your own, based on your schedule, based on your interests, you can choose who you want to connect with. And you can easily, safely connect with mentors. This platform also gives you the opportunity to connect with peers from across the region, because like I mentioned, this program is open to women from across the Asia Pacific. So you can, there's a feature which you can find women with similar interests, similar backgrounds, and you can connect with them through this platform. So in some of the key countries where we are implementing this program, these include Singapore, Malaysia, Japan, Korea, and India. We're also offering in-person events. So if you're from one of these countries, you can learn more. You can go on our platform. You can join the community and find about in-person events where we actually do corporate office visits, where you can actually go and experience today's workforce firsthand, meet people who work in these companies. We've already had visits to Microsoft and AWS earlier this year in Singapore, and we're planning several more. So do join the program to learn more about these kind of in-person events. We also have a curated library of learning resources that have been very generously given to us by our partners such as AWS. These are available on the platform. They're all available for free. You can access them again based on your schedule, and you can do these on your own time. And finally, you can earn badges and certificates as you go along the program. As you complete different parts of the program, you can earn badges and certificates. Even for attending this session today, you can earn a certificate that my colleague will later on tell you how you can get access to. Now, this program you can join as of today, as of now. There's a QR code to the bottom of this slide. You can scan that. You can go to our the URL that's mentioned. After the speaker series, we have, for next couple of months, they're already announced. We have one next month with Micron. In August, we're having a really interesting one related to women in gaming. So I hope you will check out our upcoming events and join us in the speaker series. I also mentioned the industry site visits that we'll be sharing more information on our platform. On the learning resources library is also available and accessible anytime. And you can also access mentors. You can do both group sessions if you'd rather do it with a group of friends or with your classroom, with your class in school, or you can do one-on-one sessions based on your interests. Now, again, I'm sharing the list of our corporate partners. These are partners who've shared the learning resources and have volunteered mentors for this program. Here's also a sample of some of the mentors from our corporate partners who are already on the platform. We have around 65 mentors on the platform and a growing community of young women we have already on the platform that you can engage with. Now, before I hand over to our wonderful speaker, I just want to thank Valerie for taking the time out today to share her insights with the STEM Connected community. Valerie is the ASEAN lead in global education skills to job at Amazon Web Services. She has worked extensively with governments, research and educational institutes, skilling agencies, and business entities to drive digital transformation and adoption of cloud technology. She has led multiple initiatives and programs across the region for learners, educators, and other stakeholders to work together to build cloud awareness and cloud literacy in order to build a better equipped workforce. Prior to joining AWS, Valerie has covered roles including marketing, research, and brand marketing. So we're very excited to hear from you. Over to you, Valerie.
Thanks a lot, Marine. Can you all hear me okay?
Yes.
That's good. Yeah, nice to meet everyone on this call. My name is Valerie, and as Marine mentioned, I'm the ASEAN lead for our global education team. I regularly interface very closely with students, university students, secondary school students, as well as lecturers and government agencies across the ASEAN region, in particular like Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand, Vietnam, Philippines, and all. So very excited to be here to speak to you today. In fact, I've actually been speaking to a group of students at UNIMAS as well last month in Malaysia, in Sarawak. So yeah, very excited to do so. So let me just share my screen and let me know when you can see my screen. Good. Okay. So without further ado, let's get started. I think most of you here are very familiar with Amazon, right? The e-commerce side of the house where you can perhaps, buy books from, buy rice cookers. As you can see, I also looked at ovens and tablets. But where I actually sit by business unit is really more on the Amazon Web Services side, which is quite I would say ignorant to most of the people out there because they don't really interface with the backend infrastructure. They interface more with the mobile apps as well as the web apps that are actually deployed and hosted on AWS. So in Amazon, we are a very big company, and there's many different business units and subsidiaries that Amazon actually owns. So the e-commerce side of the house would be very familiar to you. We also have the devices business unit. So the devices business unit is mainly in the US, where they manufacture a lot of smart home devices like your Echo Dot, your Echo Show, and also your Kindle tablet, where you can read the books from. We also have our streaming content business unit because Amazon actually acquired MGM Studios. So MGM Studios are the film production companies that shoot like James Bond movies, right? So after we have acquired MGM Studios, we have also produced Amazon originals, like the recent Lord of the Rings series was actually filmed in the Amazon Studios in the US. And we also have the consumables business unit because Amazon acquired Whole Foods a few years ago. And we also have our physical retail unit. So in our physical retail unit, it's pretty cool because there is no cashier and there's also no self-checkout machines. Everything is actually powered by the cameras that are installed across the store ceiling. And every transaction that you make will be captured through those cameras and processed on the cloud. So whatever business unit that I mentioned earlier on is actually all powered by this AWS cloud or this AWS technology stack that's running on the back end. So let me just go on to my next slide. So this is the Amazon Go physical retail store that I talked about. And as you can see, it's a very small convenience stores. Basically, once you sign up on the Amazon app, you can actually scan the QR code and link your credit card to it. And once you enter, whatever you take from the store will actually be monitored by cameras on the ceiling, right? So I will just play you a quick video so that you can understand how it flows.
4 years ago, we started to wonder, what would shopping look like if you could walk into a store, grab what you want, and just go? What if we could weave the most advanced machine learning, computer vision, and AI into the very fabric of a store so you never have to wait in line? No lines, no checkouts, no registers. Welcome to Amazon Go. Use the Amazon Go app to enter. Then put away your phone and start shopping. It's really that simple. Take whatever you like. Anything you pick up is automatically added to your virtual cart. If you change your mind about that cupcake, just put it back. Our technology will update your virtual cart automatically. So, how does it work? We used computer vision, deep learning algorithms, and sensor fusion, much like you'd find in self-driving cars. We call it Just Walk Out technology. Once you've got everything you want, you can just go. When you leave, our Just Walk Out technology adds up your virtual cart and charges your Amazon account. Your receipt is sent straight to the app, and you can keep going. Amazon Go. No lines, no checkout. No, seriously.
So that is our Just Walk Out technology that is deployed mainly in smaller stores like your convenience stores. We recently also developed this technology called the Amazon Dash Carts that are actually meant to be used in larger supermarkets. So the difference between the Just Walk Out technology versus the Amazon Dash Carts is that instead of the cameras being on the ceilings, now the cameras is actually embedded in your shopping baskets, in your shopping trolleys, right? So we also have another technology called Amazon One. So instead of scanning like a QR code, you basically register your palm print instead. And once you scan your palm on the gantry, you can actually enter the store. So let me show you a video of the Amazon Dash Carts.
Discover a smoother way to shop with the Amazon Dash Cart. Say hello to the Amazon Dash Cart and take the stress out of shopping. Skip the checkout and keep rolling with the Dash Cart. Scan, weigh, load, and bag items right at the cart. With store maps, you can easily find where items are throughout the store. Watching your budget? No problem. Track your spending with a live receipt on screen. When you're done shopping, you really are done. No lines, no rebagging. Simply a smoother way to shop.
So the Amazon Dash Carts really helps in terms of like calculating the total amount being spent, tracking it live even before you go to like the old like cashier or the checkout machines, which are now no longer in the stores. So currently the technology is being piloted in the US in our Amazon Fresh stores, but subsequently, they will be sold to other supermarket chains across the world. And, hopefully soon they will be in like Singapore where I'm based at so that I can do, all the live shopping without having to clear the checkout lines or the cashier. So all this technology is actually powered by this thing called cloud computing. And every time we were to ask people, what is cloud computing? They will actually think of things like G Drive, where they store their photos at, or like iCloud, which is available on the Apple device. So it's quite similar, but actually cloud is much more bigger than that, because what I just mentioned is really just one of the categories of cloud computing, which is the storage side of the house. So cloud computing is actually pay-as-you-go IT resources, and think of it like utility, where you get your water, where you get your electricity. You basically buy IT resources like machine learning, compute instance, storage instance, and you just pay for what you use. And if you don't use it anymore, you can just turn it off. It's like the water tap. You can turn it off and you just pay for what you consume. So I would like to think of this analogy as like, a water well, right? In the olden days, where we have the water well, you actually have to guess the capacity of the water well. Like, is this water well going to be serving a village of 100 people, or is it going to be serving a household of 5 people? And from there, you actually guess the capacity. And also to build a water well is very expensive, right? Because you have to dig the ground and then you have to lay the bricks and ensure that, the foundation is set before the well is even working. And you also have to regularly maintain your well, because people could, put in funny things into your water and pollute your water. So these are actually quite necessary. But in today's day and age, we actually have this thing called the water tap. And in the water tap, you don't actually have to guess the capacity, because there's this model called the auto scaling, where if you require water, you just turn it on. And if you no longer need it, you just turn it off. And it can scale up to as much water as you wish to, because you just need to keep the tap flowing. Of course, it's not really encouraged, right? And also in the water tap concept, it's a pay-as-you-go model. There is no high initial cost to build, because all you need to do is really just to install the faucet and make sure that your pipes are all connected. And it's also pretty reliable, because you do not have to guard like the reservoir that is supplying to your water tap. You just have to look after your water faucet, and if it's faulty, you just need to replace it. So the concept of a water well to a water tap is the same concept as how companies who used to buy IT servers, they now do not buy any more IT servers. They just build directly on the AWS cloud or any other cloud providers. So I will skip this video about AWS. But basically, this is how the cloud works. So all these services, all these IT resources like your storage, your compute, your data analytics, and blockchain is actually all powered on the AWS cloud, and that is backed by our data centers and servers. So instead of companies buying their own data servers and having to protect them, they now build on the AWS cloud. And this technology is actually being democratized. And why I say that is because you actually have the same access to the same technology that other MNCs have out there. So for example, Netflix builds on AWS cloud, and you can actually use the same like machine learning instances. You can use the same storage instances as them as well. Okay, so these are the many categories of AWS services, and we have more than 200 over services and more than 5,000 functions or features, as you may call it. So we even have things like your satellite technology, where recently we introduced this Kuiper project. So if you search online, Amazon Kuiper, you will see that we are trying to make basically broadband access even more affordable by connecting to satellites across the globes. So this is actually introduced so that countries like your emerging markets, like, the Fiji Islands, they can actually access this kind of broadband technology at a much affordable way. So currently this is being piloted, but if you search online Amazon Kuiper, you'll actually be able to read more about that as well. Okay. So as I mentioned, there are many different advantages of cloud computing. The more important one is the elasticity, which is being able to grow and shrink your capacity as and when you need it. So like scaling in or scaling out. So like it's more of like a pay-as-you-go kind of a model. And also because there is a lot of millions of customers building on the AWS cloud, we actually reduce our prices along the way. So I know that, in today's day and age, there's a lot of inflation, but actually for Amazon, we first launched in 2006, and along the way, this like I think about 18 years or so, we have actually reduced our prices more than 126 times, which is actually very amazing. And that's all thanks to the economies of scale because of the millions of customers that are building on the cloud. It managed to press the price down really low. Right, so we can actually spin up a virtual computer for less than, I think, 5 cents per minute, right? And also because of the AWS cloud, it allows companies to deploy globally in minutes. So it allows companies like Netflix in the times of pandemics to actually deploy their media resources, their movies, their animations to the region that are closest to you. For example, for me in Singapore, there is a Singapore region, but for folks in like Malaysia or in Thailand, they can tap into like the Jakarta region or the Singapore region that is closest to them. It also allows companies to experiment and test the new ideas very quickly, because if, let's say, they have an innovative idea, they want to build a proof of concept, they can actually spin that up pretty quickly in the cloud. And if it fails, they can just shut it down. So it encourages agility within our customers as well. Okay, so I've spoken quite a lot in terms of our advantages of cloud computing. Pfizer is also one of our AWS customers. So the usual time for, Pfizer or any other pharmaceutical companies to develop a vaccine would take about 8 to 10 years. But did you know that Pfizer actually took 269 days to develop the COVID-19 vaccine on AWS? So that means that they actually, pump in all their research results, and through the very powerful compute instances, they can actually analyze the results, whether or not this vaccine is good or bad, and how they can improve it better. And from there, they do millions and millions of testings, and it actually brings down the amount of time taken to develop the vaccine. So without cloud computing, if we were to stick to like 8 to 10 years, actually by now we would still all be wearing a mask, and we would still all be pretty much in isolation mode. So that's the power of cloud computing. Pfizer, Moderna, and AstraZeneca, they all built on AWS cloud as well. So let's also look at the durability of AWS Cloud Storage. So we actually have this service called Amazon Simple Storage Services. It's quite similar to G Drive, but instead of it being for consumables, consumers, we actually use it more for businesses like your SMEs. So recently, I actually went to a medical clinic and they actually stored my medical receipts and data on the Amazon S3 cloud as well, because when I clicked to view my receipt, it actually brought me to a S3 bucket link, right? So the durability of this cloud storage is 11 nines, and that means 99.999%. And to contextualize things is that if you store 10 million objects in the AWS S3 cloud, you can expect to lose just one in 10,000 years. And the exception to that would be if you own self-delete the file, then of course that cannot be helped. But if, let's say, you leave the things there without touching it, then you can expect to lose one in 10,000 years, which is actually pretty durable in terms of cloud storage. And the reason behind that is because we have this thing called the replication of data. So basically, in all the different regions, we will actually replicate your data at least 3 times across our 3 different data centers in a particular region itself. So then if one data center were to like go down because of, things like earthquake, at least your files will actually be captured in the other data centers. So the likelihood of you losing your data is very little, very small. And also because the way that our data centers are being built, right, is to ensure that each data centers are less than 100 kilometers away from each other. So the data can be replicated very quickly within milliseconds. And also data residency, it's within the country itself. Okay, so AWS actually has a global portfolio of customers in 190 countries. We don't have regions in all 190 countries, but as I mentioned, you can actually tap on the region that is closest to you. So you will spot some notable names or relevant names that you can relate with here, like your Unilever, your Coca-Cola, and your BMW. But in today's sharing, I will just cover a few quick examples. So I believe most of you actually know Disney, right? So Disney makes a lot of movies, they make a lot of animation, and what Disney use AWS for is really our machine learning and deep learning tools. So you see all the green color boxes, these are called bounding boxes. So using that, they are actually able to tag and archive and also categorize the different characters, like, oh, this is a Mickey Mouse, this is a Donald Duck, what's the expression of the Mickey Mouse? Is it crying? Is it laughing? And the importance of that is because whenever they write a new film or new movie, if their screenwriters need to find back examples of like Mickey Mouse's crying, Mickey Mouse infant, they're actually able to do so very quickly, right? Instead of rewatching, thousands and hundreds of movies, they can actually search and filter out the results very quickly. So another example is F1, Formula One. So Formula One also do their data analytics on AWS Cloud. Basically, every F1 car has more than 300 sensors that captures 1.1 million data points per second. And what they do with all this data is to then analyze, like, for example, what is the race strategy? How are the competitors doing against each other? How is the car performance? What is the exit speed? How quickly are they turning the corners, etc. So all this actually helps not just the F1 drivers prepare for their future F1, competition, but it also helps like the coaches. It also helps like the television broadcasting systems, right? Because you're actually able to see in real time how the cars are performing and who is racing, who is like in the top, who is in the second, etc. So all these, metrics actually get calculated and processed and stored on the cloud and then sent back to the devices where you're watching it. It could be national television, it could be on the phone, etc. So this is a video of Warner Brothers multiverse games. So I'll just play this very quickly.
The current landscape of gaming is way more free to play, which means that the processing of data and those needs just grow and grow over time. Warner Brothers Games has worked with AWS since 2014. Because we worked with AWS, it's meant our business could scale easily. Peak volumes on a launch day, we pull in about 3 billion events per day.
There's no reason to guess or just go purely off gut instincts anymore. It's data. Data drives all of the decisions.
AWS is such an important partner because we don't have to worry about scale. We've tested up to 300,000 data events a second. We know when we launch a game, it's not going to fall down on us. A specific example of how we use data to influence our strategy is Multiverses.
Multiverses is a 2v2 brawler game
Featuring all the best characters from Warner Brothers. People know these characters, they love these characters, and if the design team doesn't nail the visceral feel of these characters, it's going to show up in the data. We can find that through the data, see how many people are getting impacted, and then propose solutions that will make the game better.
One of the biggest light bulb moments that I encountered is bringing our analytics data back into our partners' line of business tools. Whether it's a game designer designing a character or a world and seeing telemetry around how that world's behaved, or bringing data into our CRM systems so folks that are marketing and interacting with our players can see what their experience with us has been historically.
Anytime that we make a suggestion and it's changed in the game, I know why that change happened and what drove that decision making. Making the game better for the players, that's what it's really all about.
Woo! So if you heard correctly just now, you would have heard that Warner Brothers actually mentioned that during their peak launch day, they receive more than 3 billion data points per day, and that's about like 300,000 data points per second. And that's actually a lot of data to be processed on the cloud. But it helps a lot, especially during gaming, because for example, when the game is about to launch an exclusive item in game, all the players around the world will actually, go online and they will rush to that particular spot. And it will be a very bad experience if the game just hangs and lags, and ultimately whatever you take is, not being given or deposited into like your inventory, right? So all this customer experience is better improved with the cloud being processing and storing and archiving and analyzing all the data on the spot instantaneously. Right. So many other game providers out there, like Sony Interactive Entertainment, as well as, even Angry Birds, is all powered by the AWS cloud. So AWS also powers many other industry, like your financial services from like HSBC, Stripe Insurance, and even investment funds as well. And I would like to go back to this, I think it's this video. Let me just see.
I think sports is really
Yeah, so I just would like to play you a video of how Bundesliga actually use AWS for data analytics purposes.
sports is really, I think, the greatest storytelling form that we have in our society, and also something that can really bring us together. What we do in our partnership with the Bundesliga is that we really try to use data and analytics to really tell a much richer story, using recent advances in technology and especially machine learning to analyze what happened, what went wrong, and what was that little moment that gave that one team the edge over the other. I'm definitely a fan of the football game. In the past, most of the analysis has really been focusing on being on the offensive side, looking at things like passes, shots, but the defensive side really remained a mystery. So one of our Bundesliga match facts is most pressed player. For that person in ball possession, is he or she actually under pressure? And how much pressure? One of the great examples of pressure is when one of the teams is moving the ball downfield. The pressure is rising, but how do you quantify that pressure into a numerical value? The reason that we can do that now is because we have technology that can track players. We use around 16 to 25 cameras positioned at different locations in the stadium, and using computer vision, translate that in positional coordinates. And it does this 25 times a second. It sends this data every second to AWS. Once we have this raw data, we look at the position of the defenders. The highest point of pressure is if a defender would be right in your face. Second, at different angles. And once we have that, we sum that pressure of each of these multiple defenders to one pressure value. So he's under a lot of pressure. One of the defenders almost captures the ball, but he manages to just at the last second make the magnificent shot, resulting in a goal. In a match, there are about 3.5 million positions that we need to evaluate. And we need to compute this on the fly in real time. Within 500 milliseconds, we're able to aggregate and send it out so that in nearly all countries around the globe, you can see the Bundesliga match facts on your screen. The AWS Cloud Serverless technology allows us to spin up big machines and have compute available anywhere at any time. I think this is just the start of what we're about to uncover, really analyzing data to see what is really driving which different tactic and try to explain to the viewer what is the story about this game, which player is making the difference, to create those memories and bring people together. And when that happens, it's an incredible feeling.
Yes, so the video that you just watched was the Bundesliga German Football League. And they don't actually wear any vests with cameras on them. Everything is captured through the stadium cameras, 16 to 25 of them, if you heard in the video. So beyond Bundesliga, actually, AWS recently also signed a deal with the National Football League. I think if you search online, you will be able to find all these different pointers, but basically it helps to drive, fan engagement, performance analytics, and it helps the players actually improve by, having all these data points that will teach them, how to dribble the ball better, etc. So I will skip this video because I think there's a crunch in terms of time. But basically, I just wanted to share with you, this is our AWS global infrastructure. So when I mentioned about region, it's basically having a physical presence in the country, like our physical data centers. And recently, we actually announced that we'll be launching in Malaysia and Thailand. And I also think countries like Germany, Italy recently was announced. I think in May 2024. So this is not the latest slides, but yeah, Germany, Italy was also announced in May 2024. So moving forward, when all these countries and when all these regions are being established, a lot of these customers in these countries will actually look perhaps to move their data back into their original countries. And that will actually create quite a lot of different job opportunities as well, especially for the university students that are graduating today. All right, so basically this slide is a quick snapshot of our AWS services. So I can do a quick live demo. So in our AWS console, this is what how it looks like. And what we actually mean by democratizing technology is that everyone, including you and me, can sign up for a free account and we can actually access this. But of course, do take note that you do not want to provision live resources because you'll be charged for that. So if you go on to like machine learning and Amazon recognition, you can actually have access to this interesting service called recognition, and you can do things like label detection. So you can put in images and it will be able to tell you like, is there a person in this picture, car, etc. And you can also do things like image moderation, which will help a lot of businesses, especially those that have like age gating sort of a limit. For example, they will put in like a blocker and they will actually help you analyze whether or not a content has any moderation labels. So for example, in this picture, it will flag out to me that, there is swimwear and etc. So in the more conservative countries, they will then, be able to apply all these blockers so that consumers can make informed decisions before they click to view further, etc. So you can also do things like facial analysis. For example, if you pump in a picture, you can analyze the age, whether or not it's smiling, whether or not it's wearing glasses. And you can also do things like face comparison. So for example, if I want to find myself in this photo, of course, this person is not me. That is our Amazon CEO. But then I will be actually able to find myself in another picture, right, of my hair being let down. So you can see that, yes, you can find this face in here, but you are not able to it's not the same face, right? Because these two are actually my colleagues, right? So you can do things like that on Amazon console. So beyond that, I actually wanted to also quickly talk about the skills gap. So because AWS Cloud is actually utilized in all the industries, so we have been So my team actually have been talking to many different employers like your VV Bank, your Petronas, and they all say that, you know, they actually face a lot of skills gap. They actually cannot really hire the right talent. And the reason for that is also because a lot of the talent that graduates, they know like software engineering, they know Python programming, they know HTML, etc. But not a lot of people is actually aware of the cloud computing skill sets, and they do not really have it. So skill sets like your architecting, your developing and operations, etc. So we also did research studies, and it actually shows that people with the advanced digital skills earn 65% more than workers that do not apply digital skills at work. And if you see here, advanced digital skills actually refer to things like your cloud architecture, your cloud maintenance, your software app development, as well as the recent hype, the artificial intelligence and machine learning. So in terms of the AWS industry certifications, these are some of our AWS industry certifications from Foundation, Associate, Professional, as well as Specialty. And actually having an AWS certification will put you in a much better position when you're applying for especially a cloud role, as opposed to someone without the AWS industry certification. Of course, this industry certification, they do come at a fee, and they do come with an exam as well. So you need to have like a passing score of 70% to 72% before you're actually awarded the industry certified version of it, right? And why I show you this slide is because in terms of the cloud-related tech jobs, they're actually broken down into three key pillars. So cloud architecture would be the ones where if they want to design a particular software or solution, they are the ones speaking to the customers and understanding their problems, their needs, and then finding out what kind of AWS services is needed to build this solution. So what I'm showing you on screen right now is a real architecture diagram. This is the architecture diagram of a smart farming, and this is the role of a solution architect, right? So after the solution architect has drawn out this architecture diagram, like which services is connected to which other services, is the role of the cloud builder to actually be the one developing the solution on the AWS cloud. And after the solution is being developed, it's the role of a system operations administrator to actually maintain, like the health dashboards of the system. Is everything working fine? How can we cost optimize, etc.? So these three key roles are very essential, and they work with one another in the cloud ecosystems. And of course, we also have the cloud product side of the house, which is not so technical. So it will be roles like myself, where it's like the program family, the program manager, product owner, financial manager, etc. They will also interact with all these cloud-based systems, for example, when it comes to budgeting and cost control, etc. So all these roles will interact with the cloud systems, and it's quite necessary for STEM graduates like yourself to be aware of what cloud is and consider a career in cloud computing. Okay, so in terms of AWS, we are actually preparing the workforce of the future, and we made a pledge about 5 years ago to train 29 million people for free by 2025. And we're actually very close to the target already, because 2025 is next year. So we have a lot of free educational programs. So on the screen, you will see AWS Academy, which is meant for institutions of higher learning, like your universities or your colleges. We also have programs like AWS Restart, which is a 12-week bootcamp free for unemployed and underemployed individuals. And we also have programs like AWS Educate and AWS Skill Builder, which are meant to be self-paced, free learning resources. So inside Skill Builder, there's more than 600 courses. You can actually choose to learn by role, like a solution architect or DevOps role, or you can choose to learn by the topic, for example, Gen AI, machine learning, or for example, database. And there's also things like Cloud Quest. So Cloud Quest is basically a gamified way of learning. And you basically go through the virtual 3D city and complete the different assignments to build your foundation cloud skills. So I will be playing a quick video of that.
Welcome to AWS Cloud Quest Cloud Practitioner, the newest way to build your AWS skills. Cloud Quest is an open-world role-playing game that teaches you how to build real AWS solutions using cloud concepts and exercises. As a cloud practitioner, you'll venture on a journey to help the citizens in town transform their city by using cloud solutions. You can take your technical training to the next level by turning business problems into technical solutions through puzzles, simulations, and hands-on labs. As a foundational building block for skill building and career development, CloudQuest gives you control of your learning journey at your own pace. With tons of customizations, unique assignments, and game modes, CloudQuest is a continuous learning experience. You can earn rewards to unlock various character styles, pet companions, city themes, and vehicles. Dive into the world of AWS and embark on the quest.
So beyond CloudQuest, there are many like digital videos, lab environment on Skill Builder, which you can sign up for free as well. Of course, it's a freemium subscription, but I would say the free courses are actually quite sufficient if you're at the foundational or intermediate level. So before I close today's sharing, I just want to talk about Party Rock because it's a pretty cool thing. And because Gen AI is all the hype these days. So Party Rock is basically a website where you can actually build your own app with no code at all. Basically, all you need to do is type in a prompt of what you want the app to be, and it will be able to generate the app for you. So it has text output, it has image output, and it also has a chatbot output. So I will not be playing this video, but I can show you a live version of it. So if you go onto partyrock.aws, you can actually generate an app by just, typing like a 1 or 2 sentence describing it, and it will generate for you. So here are some of the apps that are actually generated when we do like road shows and stuff. So you can see things like KickSpeak. So for example, KickSpeak is like when one of the students actually wanted to make an app to help digest content and teach content to like 5 years old. So it makes the content much more easier to explain. So one of our US colleagues have also done things like resume optimizer. So basically you type in the job description of the job that you're applying for, and then you put in your resume. It will actually tell you the match percentage and the strength and weaknesses of your resume and how you can improve your resume to actually be more suitable for the job that you're applying for. And actually recently, we have sort of improve Party Rock to the point that you are actually able to upload documents onto Party Rock itself. So in the past, it was just a lot of text typing, but these days you can actually upload files. So it can scan the files, and it can help you do whatever you want to do basically. So you can also look at Discover, you can see what other apps people are building. And of course, if you want to port in this app into the actual AWS console, you want to make this like a commercial thing, you can search up Partysmith. There's actually a technical way to import your Party Rock app into the AWS console. So I think it brings me to the end of my presentation, but I really encourage you to give cloud skills a try on Skill Builder and also consider a career in cloud computing. And if you're interested in generative AI tools of AWS, you can try out Party Rock. But of course, if you're more technical, you can try things like Amazon Bedrock, where we open the access to a lot of the company's models, like even your Meta Llama 2. It's also available on Bedrock as well. Okay, so yeah, I have come to the end of my sharing, and love to take some questions from the audience. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Valerie. That was excellent. So interesting. All these exciting innovations that are happening. While we wait for people to type in questions, I'll just start off with one, which is, what advice would you give to graduate students who are interested in specializing in cloud computing, particularly in terms of skill development and industry relevance? I've been seeing the statistic everywhere that there's going to be a shortage of jobs in cybersecurity and cloud in the coming years. So is there something that you would advise? What kind of courses, or what should they be focusing on? And now that most of our audience is currently students, and what can they be doing to make if they want to have a career in this field?
Sure. So, to answer your question, I would usually encourage students to start from the fundamentals because it's really difficult for them to jump into like machine learning on AWS if they don't even know the fundamentals of AWS. And what I mean by fundamentals would be our core services, like your EC2, which is the Elastic Compute Cloud, your IAM, which is the Identity and Access Management, as well as S3, which is a simple storage service, and also Lambda, which is a serverless computing kind of service. So to jump head start into like, database, data analytics, it's really difficult if you do not know all these fundamentals because these are the services that is required to connect to your database analytics tools. So in all the architecture diagram, so just now I showed a very complicated one, but in almost all architecture diagrams, EC2, IAM, Lambda is definitely there. Whether or not simple storage service is there really depends on your database use case. So you can swap up S3 for like, for example, Redshift or DynamoDB, which are our other database instances. But it's really going to be difficult if they do not know the fundamentals. So let me just share my screen very quickly again. So if you see my screen, this is the skill builder page. Basically, learn by cloud role or learn by product domain. Inside there, there's actually a cloud fundamentals course, and there's also training courses. So let me just click onto one, machine learning. So you will be able to see like in skill builder, there is things like Amazon Bedrock, getting started 1 hour, or becoming a 10x developer with Code Whisperer, and things like that. But usually you'll want to look at the learning plan. So let me just scroll all the way to learning plan. Okay, I think this is a very... let me search all the learning planner.
I'm just going to add to this. There's a question that came that that are some of these courses for free, and I just saw on the link that you shared that some of them are free, right?
Yes.
If you could just highlight that, because one of our participants just asked that
Yes.
can we do courses and get certifications from AWS for free? So if you could just point out the free courses. I know I saw some of them mentioned that they were free.
Sure. So it's a freemium model. So there is free 600 over courses, and then the paid model is $29 a month. The free one is actually sufficient. So how to identify if it's free or not? It will actually tell you in the course that you take. So for example, so as you can see, the course here is free, but then you will see some that is like paid. Free. So it's important to know like which are the free courses and which is the paid courses so that you don't actually incur charges. So to get a free certificate on AWS, it depends on what kind of certificate that you're talking about. So why I say that, right, is because let me just go to Credly really quickly. So if you're a student, it's actually easier to get a free certificate, but of course, the industry certification do come at a charge. So what I mean by that is, if you look at this Credly page, right, this is the house of all the AWS certifications. So you will see things like AWS Certified Cloud Practitioner and also AWS Academy Graduate Cloud Foundations. So regardless in Skill Builder or in Academy courses, there's always going to be courses that provides you a free certificate, but it's different compared to the industry recognized certificate. The difference is because one is, you have to pay for the examination fee and you have to pass the examination fee versus other courses where it's just like after you have completed the course, then you get a certificate. So that is the key difference here. One is a course certificate of completion. One is a certificate to show that you are actually skilled in the particular domain, like solution architect, foundations, etc. So that's the key difference here. So courses that are on Skill Builder, there will be some that is free certification, but then if you are planning to take like industry recognized certification, then it will come at a particular fee. Yeah.
Great, thank you. There's another question where somebody is asking, for commercial edu chatbots, is Party Rock a recommended solution? For instance, I am building, they're saying that they're building a student admission portal as an educator. So far, I have built low-code solutions in Paylab and Microsoft Power Platform. So if you can tell them a little bit about Party Rock, is that something
Okay,
you
so
have?
if you are building like a commercial solution, I actually don't really recommend Party Rock, because Party Rock is more for like a consumer perspective, like an individual kind of perspective to improve his or her productivity. If you are looking at building a full-fledged kind of solution, actually it's better to build it on the AWS console. But then it will actually incur certain charges. So we will have to discuss with like the solution architect based on your budgets, and then recommend what kind of student admissions portal that you're planning as well, because there's many different kinds. So for example, if we were to search like AWS education solutions, um, it really depends. So some of them have built like facilities managements. Some of them will build things like student communications. Some of them will build things like proctoring. But of course, there is many different use case. But to answer your question simply, I don't think Party Rock is a good tool to do that, because it's more for individuals. But we can chat more. Of course, you can email me, and then we can discuss further on how to do this as well. Yeah.
Okay. I know we're approaching time. I'll just ask one more question if you can quickly answer that, Valerie. What are some projects as current industrial engineering student with minimal cloud computing skills can do in order to be career ready and close the skill gap? It's a pretty broad question.
Yes, it's a very good question, because actually theoretical knowledge is not sufficient to get you through the door, especially during interviews, right? So I would always encourage you to do hands-on labs on also projects that you can display like on your GitHub. But of course, if you do not have access to like projects, for now, you can actually try out a hands-on lab. So if you were to look at some of these skill builder courses, you will actually see that some of it comes with labs. So take screenshots of these labs to actually demonstrate that you have built these projects before. Another way is to really, I would say, join hackathons of AWS or our customers. So most recently, I actually held like a hackathon with one of our customers called VP Bank. And they actually came up with challenge statements that the students have to solve, and they are able to demonstrate that in the finale presentation. So real projects is actually very helpful for your portfolio, and especially in a job interview. But fictitious projects is also possible as an alternative if you currently do not join like any hackathons. You can actually search online, right? So for example, in the past, I used to run many other different hackathons as well. So you can take a look at the different challenge statements that are posed by different companies, right? Like Carousel, which is an e-commerce selling platform for people. And then you can actually build this kind of challenge statements and work on projects. Of course, if you build it on AWS environment, you are bound to incur certain costs, but try to stay within the free tier environment, right? So let me just show you this. So this is the most recent hackathon that I did with VBank in Vietnam. Of course, registration is only limited to Vietnam people, but I would encourage you to take a look at the real challenge statements that is provided by real companies out there. And if you're able to build a solution that is able to solve this kind of pain points, you can actually demonstrate that in your interview as well. So there's this thing called the AWS free tier. Basically, on AWS free tier, you actually have access to free cloud computing resources, but of course, it comes at a capacity limit. So for example, S3, there's free 5 gig for the first 12 months. For Lambda, there's free 1 million for I think the first 12 months as well. So do read through all these different restrictions, and of course monitor your billing, so then you won't be able to exceed, the capacity of all these free resources that are available to you. But I do recommend that You start with Skill Builder first. You understand the billing mechanisms of AWS before you actually embark on building any projects on AWS. So there is another platform that I would recommend if you are in the Institutes of Higher Learning, which is Academy. Because in AWS Academy, you actually have lab projects that you can really work on. But the caveat to this is that you must be in a school that has the AWS Academy access. All this is provided to the institution for free, but the institution themselves need to actually sign up for it. So take a look at this Academy institution portal. So you'll be able to see the list of schools that are already on board AWS Academy. So click on this, depending on the region that you are at, right, in the country that you are at as well, right? So like, for example, if you're in Malaysia, all these universities here have access to the free portal. You just need to check with your educator, your lecturer, and ask them to create a class and add you to the particular lab project or the particular course that you want to learn. And you'll be able to access all these resources for free as well. So as you can see, many different courses here. And once you complete the course, you do get a badge on Credly. Yeah. Okay.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. This was really helpful, Valerie. It's so much information, wealth of information you've shared with us. I'll hand over to Apurva to close and also to show all the participants how you can get a certificate of attendance for today. Thank you.
Marine.
Can you present the slide? Can you hear me? Marine, are you able to hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, I think the audio is a bit low.
Oh, okay.
The volume is low.
Yeah, just waiting for you to play the slide.
Yep. Can you try now, please? Yep.
Is it better?
It's audible, but the volume is a bit low. I think let's go ahead if you can try a bit.
Yeah. Sure. So sorry for the delay, technical issues, but thank you, Valerie, for a very insightful session, and thanks to all our participants for joining us today. I hope this webinar was helpful and we are all learning something interesting things about cloud computing. For all the ladies who are new here or even who have been part of our webinars but are yet to make full use of the STEM Connected program, designed specifically to support you in your academics and professional journey, we would encourage all of you to please go and register for the program. We have recordings available from our earlier orientation sessions under our speaker events page to help you create a profile and navigate the platform. If you have any further question or still face any issues in navigating the registration process, please feel free to write to us on stemconnect.her@asiafoundation.org. For all of you who are already on the platform, please don't miss out on the chance of connecting one-to-one with the many mentors we have with us. Our next webinar session is scheduled for July 26th on charting a successful career in STEM, where our experts from Micron will be sharing some useful tips and recommendations to help you thrive in your careers. The registration for the webinars are open now. Before we close, I would like to request everyone to fill out our feedback survey through the QR code on screen to help us make this journey better for you. After submitting the form, you will receive a certificate of participation for the
Apurva,
webinar.
can you share the QR code because we can't see the QR code.
Oh, sorry. Kunal, are you able to share the presentation? I think there's some issue from my end.
Marin, can you please share? I don't have the presentation with me. Thanks.
You can scan the QR code from here and fill our feedback form. And after submitting the feedback form, you'll also receive the certificate of participation for today. Thanks, everyone. Thank you, Valerie, again. Please have a great day ahead.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks to the
Mary, you're on mute.
organizing team as well.